Amateurism is officially dead. Yes, new rule by the House has officially announced yesterday that they're going to pay players directly from the athletic program. Let's take a deeper dive. As it says here, schools are now free to begin paying their athletes directly, marking the dawn of a new era in college sports, brought about by a multi-billion-dollar legal settlement that was formally approved on Friday. As it says here via Yahoo Sports, most power conference programs are planning to distribute 90% to football and men's basketball programs. Per Ross Dellinger, $20.5 million is the projected salary cap per school for the 2025-2026 season. Now, there is some verbiage we need to go over. They also, in this document, they will be spreading across all the athletics. Remember, baseball, softball, everything, all that good stuff. Okay, let's look at the football aspect. Now, in this settlement, it's going to permit each school to hold a roster size of 105 players. In the previous NCAA model, schools were permitted only 85 players on the roster, but were allowed to possess as many walk-ons as they wanted. So that is gone, essentially, right? It's going to be way more difficult for you to walk onto a roster because they only have 105 spots. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So you do get the increase of 20 more players on the roster, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? So the walk-ons, the guys, you either have a spot on the team or you don't. And as I was saying earlier, Judge Claudia Wilkins, she approved this deal. So what happens here is you're still going to have NIL, obviously, but this allows the teams to have kind of more of a say-so, obviously, on this, right? They're not having to go through a third-party, boosters, collectives in order to pay their players, right? Paid directly through the salary cap. So they're going to have to. So now you're going to start seeing like these players are getting these outrageous $6 million, $8 million a year. Their salary cap is only so much. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's $20.5 million for the whole school year. So they're probably going to allocate 13 to 15 million for football, and the rest is going to be distributed through their other programs, depending on what your school is. So let's take, for example, a North Carolina, right? Very good basketball program. So you're probably going to see them deal in between maybe like 5 to 8 million. This is just my estimate, my thoughts on it. And you'll probably see them do another 5 to 8 million probably for the basketball team. Doesn't include NIL because they usher that in too to attract players as well. So you're going to see a little bit of both. Now, other news I wanted to talk about from this ESPN article says they will pay nearly $2.8 billion in back damages over the next 10 years to athletes who competed in college at the time from 2016 through the present day, right? Think of your Baker Mayfields, right? Think of your Lorenzo Carters, all those, primetime athletes that were able to play back then. And as I said, these new payments are in addition to scholarships and other benefits the athletes already receive. So like I said, it's just another boost for the teams, right? Another pretty much revenue stream that they can use in order to attract players into their program in order to play for them. This deal also ends 3 separate federal antitrust lawsuits, all of which claim the NCAA was illegally limiting the earning power of college athletes, as you can see here per the article. Now, in the grand scheme of things, what does this all mean? What this means is you're going to see way more lawsuits, right? Because these players before are going to want to get paid. What's next, and the biggest question is, what are the teams going to do in terms of, let's say these kids, they want to become employees and they want to unionize, right? Every team's not going to be able to afford, obviously, paying their players, right? Some teams are going to profit big off this. Some teams aren't. Some teams are going to struggle, right? So I think you're going to see more players probably going to bigger programs, 1. And then 2, is there going to be finally a limit? Does the government step in? Does the House step in terms of limiting players' ability to transfer, right? How many years can you play in college? These are big questions because kids are going 4 and 5. Some people are suing. A big example is Kai Ziegler. He's suing for a 5th year of eligibility in college basketball, right? We see Ian Shefflin. He's played basketball predominantly in his career for Clemson. He's now going to the football side of things. So what will be the limit? That is the biggest thing because you can't stay in college, because that's hurting the high schoolers as well. You can't stay in college for 5-6 years. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be a limit on that. And then the ability to transfer. We see so many kids now transferring to 4 or 5 different schools, through just their whole collegiate career, right? There has to be a cap on that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, what kind of is next. But like I said at the beginning of the video, amateurism is dead. And it does have its perks, and it does have, obviously, some bad things as well. But like I said, it's a new era in college athletics. You know what I'm saying? Kids can get paid. You have your NIL. You can get paid from the video game. We seen a post, obviously, about that yesterday. Depending on how much kids or how much people use a certain team, they can get paid a payout as well. So you're going to really see more. I think you're going to see more marketing. If you are a star in the sport, you're definitely going to see that team market you. You're obviously going to see more billboards. You're obviously going to see more collaborations. I think big time influencers with these athletes as well. I think you're going to see all that. We've been seeing that for a while, but I think you're going to see it turn up a notch. So my biggest hope is that there is some sort of regulation. Again, I'm always been for kids getting paid. They should get paid. These institutions, these programs, they make millions to billions of dollars off these kids. Go look at the NCAA tournament. Obviously, go look at this college football playoff. They're making tons of money. But at the same time, kind of playing devil's advocate, there does need to be some limitation, right? You can only be in school for a set amount of years because, like I said, that hurts high school kids. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be able to go 6 or 7 years in college. It has to be an endpoint. At that point, you got to find a job. You got to do something else, right? And it also needs to be regulation in terms of your ability to transfer, I think. Maybe 2 or 3 times in your career. You know what I'm saying? At that point, there needs to be a limit because it's hurting the high school kids. So who benefits most from this? Obviously, college athletes. Obviously, the players. Who hurts probably the most from this? Definitely probably the high school kids as well, as they're trying to make their mark and get in because there are only a certain amount of roster spots for them already. And then you compete in with having to pay them as well and with the guys that are in here for 6 and 7 years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I'm going to follow it. Look, I'm not an expert in terms of the legal stuff. I'm just reacting, giving my opinion on obviously this big settlement. I do like it, but you're going to see more lawsuits. What do they do with the high school kids? And then 3, will they limit, obviously, the transfer part of this whole thing, right? And then for these freshmen coming in, will there be some kind of pay structure? And when I say pay structure, I'm like, Najeh, what are you talking about? I'm saying in terms of team morale, you don't want to see a freshman that's coming in, could be a 5-star, could be a high-end athlete, could be a high-end prospect. You don't want to see him making more than a senior that's gotten out the mud and had to work and grind to get to where he is. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do there. But nonetheless, I will continue to react. Any lawsuits, I will give you guys my honest thoughts and opinion, man. But comment down below. With amateurism being dead, is this the down era or is this the golden era of college football? Not even college football, but college athletics. Comment down below.